निरञ्जनं नित्यम् अनन्तरूपं भक्तानुकम्पाधृतविग्रहं वै ईशावतारं परमेशमीड्यं तं रामकृष्णं शिरसा नमामः. Namaste and welcome to the continuation of this series of talks on guided meditation for beginners. As usual, we will start our session with meditation. So let us meditate. Sit upright, keeping your back, neck and head in a relaxed upright position. Visualize your whole body to be steady and strong and healthy. Direct your attention to various limbs of your body, and as you focus on those parts, visualize that each part is full of strength, vitality and purity. Focus your attention to your toes, ankle, calf, knees, thighs, back, stomach, chest, shoulders, arms, elbows, hands, neck, face, head, and the whole body. Imagine it to be full of light and energy and strength and steady. Now focus your attention on your breath. Breathe in a deep, rhythmic way with full inhalation and exhalation. And as you breathe in, visualize that you breathe in the light of purity. It fills your whole being, every corner of your mind and every cell of your body is recharged with this pure vital energy. Inhale and exhale slowly and deeply. Let's do this for 3 times. Let us now pray for the welfare of all beings throughout this universe. May all beings be happy, may all be full of peace and joy, may all seek the divine within themselves. Send out your prayers to your right, visualize the thoughts going out forever, uplifting all those whom it comes in contact with. Send out your prayers to the left, in front of you, behind, above, below, in all directions. With you as the center, you radiate this wonderful prayer for the welfare of all beings. Now withdraw your mind from the external world and focus it in the center of your heart. Therein, visualize a beautiful lotus, fully bloomed, full of freshness and fragrance. In the center of that lotus, visualize a flame steady like a lamp kept in a windless place, radiating its effulgence in all directions, filling every corner of your mind, every cell of your body with its divine effulgence. You may replace that flame with any divine form of your choice and visualize that to be the embodiment of all divine excellences, living, radiant, full of grace and compassion, eager to shower His divine blessings on you. It's the representation of your higher self. Imagine the light radiating from Him to be the light of spiritual knowledge that dispels the darkness of ignorance. It's a light of purity that fills you with holiness through and through. It's a light of supreme peace that fills you with serenity and tranquility. It's a light of absolute bliss that fills you with joy and happiness. It's a light of strength that strengthens you physically, emotionally, mentally, morally, and spiritually. Feel that living presence within you as that steady light of consciousness, and you are that radiance emanating from it. Pure, perfect, beautiful, omniscient, omnipotent. Focus your whole mind on that divine and repeat the mantra or the Gayatri mantra or the universal sound Om, or if you wish, Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaaya Namaha. Keep an eye on your mind, and if it wanders off, gently bring it back to that process of repetition of the mantra. asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. And so that is how you will usually conclude your meditation. Of course, you will be meditating for at least half an hour. During our meditation training that we have on the Saturday mornings, it will be good if you get in your posture of meditation, say 10 minutes earlier, and practice the deep rhythmic breathing. In this session we just do it 3 times, but you'll find that it definitely is very helpful if you do that deep rhythmic breathing, pranayama, for at least about 10 minutes. You'll find that your whole body and the mind becomes much more steadier and ready for meditation. You'll also find that during meditation, if your mind tends to wander away, you might once more focus on your breathing. Just stop for a while in there and focus on the breathing in a deep rhythmic way, because the mind and the breath are interlinked. And as the breathing becomes steady and regular, you'll find that the mind also becomes calmer and therefore more conducive to meditation. Now, we have been talking about the various stages in the process of meditation, starting from the asana, the posture, how we should sit, breathing, how we should breathe in a rhythmic way, how and why we should pray for the welfare of all before we pray for ourselves, and then we systematically, gradually try to withdraw the mind from the external world and focus it, we say, in the heart, Hridayam. Today we'll discuss a little bit more about what that Hridayam is, because that's a topic many spiritual seekers would like to understand a little bit more. Hridayam, Hridayam. Hrid means the center, the core, the foundation of our being. Ayam means this. So that place where you feel, like you say, from the bottom of my heart or the core of my being, the center of my being, the seat of your emotions, Hridayam, that is the center. And of course, that is not the physical heart that is beating in the physical body. So today we will do a little bit of and add a little in more detail an extension of this process of visualization, and we'll link it with the ideas that we have been discussing on during these talks on mind management techniques on Sundays. We have said that we are very much familiar and aware of this physical body, but we know we have a mind, and that mind is part of our mental body. And beyond that, there is even a subtler or finer body, which we call the body of knowledge, the causal body. And beyond that is what is the Atman, or the self, which is the pure consciousness. And we really are that pure consciousness which has become enclosed, so to say, or embodied first in the body of knowledge, the causal body. Then it becomes a little bit more grossified, so to say, more concretized and crystallized, which is the mental body. And finally, the grossest is the physical body. So that what has happened is that our locus, our anchor, is so strong with the physical body that we have drifted away from that awareness of our actual core identity, which is our spiritual sense. We all feel it is there somewhere, and I sense is there, but that I sense has become identified with the body, and this is what is called spiritual ignorance. In spiritual illumination, we totally become disconnected with that awareness of ourselves as a body or a mind, and we just abide in ourselves as that infinite Atman, endless, omniscient, omnipotent, the very foundation of all knowledge, all bliss, all freedom, beauty, strength, fearlessness, and that is what we really are. So, in our meditations, what we will do is we'll develop that idea a little bit. What is this what is the core of our being, this heart where we are meditating? So, if our true identity is that spiritual essence called the soul or self, we will start with that. It is not that during meditation we are a body and we are trying to control the mind and the mind becomes pure, and as it becomes pure, an Atman is created or something like that. No. Our real identity is that we are that pure Atman all the time, and what has happened is that layer after layer of matter has enclosed it, and so as the layers become thicker and thicker, the light that is within shines out less and less and less. And if as the body becomes more tamasic, then hardly any light is coming. When it's rajasic, the light comes out, but it gets colored by the color of the conditioning of the mind. And when it is absolutely sattvic, it's like absolutely transparent, then the pure light shines out in all its glory. The light intensity, the source itself doesn't change, but how much radiates out changes depending on the purity or impurity of the mind. So the real task is not that we will have to become the Atman. The real task is how to purify this mind and body so that more and more of that inner divine power shines through. That it's a very powerful, wonderful, liberating idea. We are not sinners. We are children of the divine bliss, eternal and immortal here and now. The problem is that we have become identified with this body-mind complex, and when the body is born, we think we are born. When it dies, we think we die, and all that changes are happening in the body-mind complex. We transpose that or superimpose them on ourselves. That is called ignorance, and we suffer because of that. If we can overcome this ignorance through this process of purification of mind, then we abide in ourselves. Nothing is added to us, only the ignorance is removed. It's just like the sun, it's out there, but some clouds have come and has blocked the sun. And the sun's light itself will vaporize the clouds, and the sun shines in all its glory, it's visible. So likewise, that sun of our spiritual self is there, always shining inside us. What we want to do is become constantly aware of it all the time. At least intellectually we have to remind ourselves again and again that I am that infinite being, ever pure, ever free, Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta. That is my true identity. This biodata and CV that we have is really something that has been loaded on top of us, and it is now has covered the self, the Atman. What we want to do is remove this covering or discover it. So, in our meditation, when we say let us meditate or focus at this heart center, that heart center is at the Atman level, the pure consciousness. So what we can do is in our visualization that when we withdraw the mind from the outside world, then we visualize that there is an ocean of consciousness, infinite, endless in all directions, perfectly still, without a ripple, full of calmness, serene and tranquil, effulgent, beauty, purity, goodness, its very nature. That Atman then embodies itself in a subtle or causal body, and you begin to visualize that around that, in that ocean of consciousness, a bubble forms, which is very much transparent. Light still shines through. That is our causal body, so to say. Then we visualize that is again enclosed with another layer within inside it. And that is our mental body, in which thoughts and ideas are bubbling in and out, and all are stored there. And then it again concretizes and crystallizes and solidifies itself into a very subtle, a very gross body. So it's like water vapor becoming like water, and then it becomes like solid ice. This body is like the solid ice, surrounding it, penetrating through it, overlapping it is the mental body, which is like water. Then surrounding it, interpenetrating it, all pervading through that is the body of knowledge. And beyond that is the Atman, which pervades through all these three. So as the ice melts, it merges into the water. As the water vaporizes, it becomes water vapor. And that again can fade away to its original source. And when that happens, what remains is the pure consciousness. So we are always that pure consciousness that has become embodied in these three bodies: the causal body, the subtle body, and the gross physical body. So when we try to meditate on the Atman, when we say the self, where the light is in that beautiful lotus, that lotus is in that ocean of consciousness. And it is in there that light, the beautiful steady flame without any wind is there. And that is spreading its radiance in all its directions. And when we visualize the divine form of our chosen deity, that form is in that spiritual consciousness. And what we are trying to do is prevent the mind going towards the body and the external gross world, turn it around, invert it, so to say, avritti chakshu, that's what the Upanishads say, and now it is focused towards that beautiful Atman nature embodied in a physical form. The Absolute is nameless and formless, but it's very difficult to focus your mind initially right in the beginning on a nameless and formless entity. Therefore, we choose, or the spiritual teacher will choose for us, one divine form who is the very embodiment of all divine qualities. So if you think of what is the conception of God, He is infinitely kind, He is compassionate, He is full of knowledge, infinite knowledge. There's not an iota of ignorance. He's full of bliss. He's absolutely free. There's no bondage in it. And it's absolutely power and freedom and all those things are there. You put together all these qualities, multiply that by infinity, and that is then superimposed or is our mental conception of God that we like to worship. You might call Him Durga, Kali, Shiva, Christ, Buddha, Rama, Krishna. Names and forms, the formless can assume any form for the sake of the devotee according to the constitution of the mind and his temperament. Eventually that form also merges into the formless. But it helps us in the beginning to focus or take the support of a concrete, tangible, visual form to anchor our mind on that and visualize it to be a living presence. That is the second important thing. It's not simply a picture, a statue there sitting there perfectly still. No, it is alive. Actually, when we say we are alive, we are a little bit of that infinite ocean of life that it is. When we say we know things through our senses or through our understanding, it's only a spark of that infinite ocean of knowledge that the divine is. And the divine is our true self, higher self only. It's not some outsider. God is our higher self. But since we have drifted away from it and we are a Jivatma, we are visualizing the Supreme Being, the Paramatma. But the difference is because of this ego that has come in there. So, getting that framework right, okay, is important, because visualization is trying to intellectually, mentally, with the help of some imagery, capture, form a impression, an idea in the mind. But the actual goal is to have that experience. And if we can make that idea or the concept or that image in our minds alive, living, palpitating, responding to us whenever we need anything, rather than running out for help in here and there, we will dive back and say, I have this infinite source of energy and power inside me. I will connect myself with that. And then let me see if the darkness around me and confusion and stress and tension, does it fade away or not? So the solution is not to make a big deal about our problems. Everyone has problems in one form or the other, but to bring in the light and the power, and you'll find that the darkness automatically recedes away. No matter how long that has been there. Sri Ramakrishna says, if a room has been kept in darkness for 1,000 years, and you go and switch on the light, it doesn't take another 1,000 years for the light to go, the darkness to go out slowly. In a second, everything disappears. That power, that grace, when it comes in a flesh, everything is, all the bonds break. So, how do we make that connection with that sense? First, we have to re-establish a new identity for ourselves. Who are we? We are not somebody that's born. This physical body, individuality, identity is a very degraded understanding of what we are. The more enlightened understanding of who we are is that we are that infinite Atman. And again we have to assert that new identity. From childhood and from many previous lives, we have been conditioned again and again to think that we are some living being. From various life forms, from plants to animals to human being, we have come. Some we have become gods, and again we have come down to this form. But all these embodiments, no matter how high, are only a limitation, and they curtail and restrict the infinite beauty and purity and freedom of the Atman. What we want to be is without any body, no body. And that is our true identity. So, how do we disconnect ourselves from this physical and mental and even the knowledge, conceptual idea, and just drift back into where we are? And in that we find that beautiful state where the world cannot touch us. Outside world we can't change, but it will not affect us. We have gone deep into the ocean where the waves on the surface don't affect us. And it's absolutely calm and pure and quiet and still. Silence is there. And in that we abide in our own true self. So when we are trying to focus, when we say visualize the lotus, lotus is a symbol of unfoldment. Something's inside there. As the lotus opens, something beautiful comes out. So that divine knowledge is inside us, but somehow it has become covered, and we visualize that it opens. And when it opens, what do you see in there? A living consciousness. But that consciousness takes the form according to the way we want to approach it. And that is our chosen idea. And we visualize him seated there, not simply quiet, indifferent, unknown, way strangers. No, he is the soul of our soul. He is, whatever we are is a small spark of that infinite being that it is. And we are one with it. So that being the frame of reference that we want to achieve, how do we move from this level to that level is the next question. Why is this? And why are we so solidly anchored in this physical body, saying I am the body every time I think, Or why is the mind persistently going out through the sense organs to the external world? That's how it has been conditioned. How do we retrain the mind, re-educate it, and navigate and direct it towards that internal, so that it's not just sitting here and visualizing that Atman there, it rises itself and detaches itself from this outside world, lifts itself and just becomes identified with that supreme being, supreme state. That is called liberation, when the Jivatma merges in the Paramatma. When it's defined, described in different words: God realization, self-realization, nirvana, mukti, freedom, and all those things. But it is lifting this mind from these attachments to this body and external things, and or detaching it from there and abiding in our own nature. It's like a rubber band that has been pulled down, and the more we pull down, more stress is here, and we're trying to remain at this level, feeding the body, taking care of it, and there's so many changes are happening, old age, disease and things. So a lot of stress is there. But if we let go, by cutting all those things that are connecting us to this world, my, all those things are holding us down. Mentally we disconnect that. And then I am this body, this attachment to this body, mentally we disconnect that. automatically this rubber band will retreat itself in the mental world. And you cut there, then it just goes back into its true nature and it's without any stress, just like love, without any tension there. That would be the state where Christ says, peace that surpasseth all understanding, param shanti. That is our true nature. But we are holding it here, thinking that this is real and I should remain here at all cost. And if I die, this body dies, again we should come in here. And that ignorance is the cause of our re-embodiment. So how do we retrain this mind, which has become conditioned? How do we decondition it? How do we dehypnotize ourselves? First, we bring in that a new frame of what we are, a new paradigm, as an conceptual idea. And this is based on the realizations of those who had that particular experience. And they have come to us and proclaimed to us that you are not a trivial little human being. We are all divine beings. We are the children of immortality, Amritasya Putra. And the knowledge of this Atman is the Amritasya Setu, the bridge to immortality. So we want to experience that, Anubhuti. Not just being happy with an idea, having belief and faith. That's not going to save us. It's good to have, but we want the experience of it, realization of it. So how do we purify this mind? The whole work then becomes very simple. Chitta Shuddhi. How do we purify this mind? How we detach it from all these attachments and hypnotized state so that it just retreats into itself. In that process, repetition of the mantra is a powerful tool. Okay. So the word mantra, and we'll discuss this in the maybe Sunday classes also in the next one, means mananat trayate iti mantra. Manana means constant repetition with full concentration and devotion. Tarana means that which will help you to move from one level to another. So the body is now, the mind or our being is anchored in this body. We want to lift it from this level to the consciousness level. What will give that energy and purification so this lifting takes place? That power is embodied in the mantra. So mantra is not simply some words. Words, if you say like the Gayatri mantra, or Mahamrityunjay mantra, or the Shabda Brahman Omkar, that is also the main mantra. These are all mantras, but they are not simply words that we hear through our ears or we speak through our mind. These are happening at the physical body level. But the mantras also exist in the subtle form in the mental level. And they also exist even in the causal form in the causal level. But they have the source in the pure consciousness. So the source of the origin of the mantras is there. And the mantra right at the source of it is the Om. That Om then differentiates and becomes more and more concretized as it goes down. And so every word is full of energy, spiritual energy. We do not sometimes realize the power of words. For example, you say something very nice to somebody, immediately that person feels so happy and so good. You criticize somebody or curse somebody or something, say unpleasant. Just a word going out from your mouth, falling on that person's ear, brings in so much suffering and pain. The power that we are transmitting through that vehicle of the word that teaches. It's like, you shoot an arrow, throw a stone. Here we have thrown out a word, but that word has got so much power. So spiritual energy is very, very powerful. Next week, we will try to understand a little bit about the science of mantra. It's a very deep, esoteric topic there. It might be good to understand a little bit, then we feel encouraged to practice that with more detail and enthusiasm. But even if we do not understand the intricacies of it, it still has the effect, just like if a patient has been given some medicine by the doctor who has diagnosed him, says you take this particular antibiotics. The patient, if he has faith in the doctor and takes that, whether he understands the chemical composition of the antibiotic or not, the medicine will still work. But if he understands it, maybe he will take it and try to complete the whole course of it. Otherwise, halfway he finishes, I am feeling better. So, a little bit of understanding of the power of the mantras. If we have that, then we try to do our japa and meditation with great intensity and great devotion and focus and concentration, and as much as possible throughout the day. But definitely morning and evening we do, but during the day we try to maintain an undercurrent of the mantra going, knowing that that work is spiritual work is going and cleansing the subconscious mind deep within. And with every repetition, the mind becomes a little bit more purer, and that is the whole sadhana is all about, bringing about this purity of the mind. It's a deep topic, very interesting subject, and we will try to understand when we say repeat the mantra Om, or that which has been given by a spiritual teacher, why that particular japa repetition of the mantra is so important as a spiritual discipline. In the sadhanas, it says japat siddhi. Simply, siddhi means perfection will come simply by repetition of the mantra. As simple as that, because there is that power inside that seed, and you just plant the seed and you put water and everything. In time, naturally, it will grow into a beautiful tree, a spiritual tree, which will give spiritual flowers and spiritual fruits. So that is the real work, but we have to have some understanding, so that that understanding, that knowledge will light us the spiritual path, and we know as we go through this clarity, and with that clarity there's more enthusiasm and patience and perseverance, all those things that are necessary to have that spiritual experience, which has to come either in this lifetime or 100 lifetimes or 1,000. Without that, there's no rest and there's no peace. So if it has to be done, let's do it now, here and now. The sooner, the better. So do your meditations with great intensity, with great regularity. Morning and evening, the best times are there. Meditating at midnight is another beautiful time. Or getting up in the morning at 4 o'clock, Brahma Muhurta, when the whole world is sleeping and there's absolute calmness. In that silence, you've rested. And now focus the whole mind on the most beautiful aspect of your own self. That is the best work that you are going to do, and that is the real self-empowerment. Give yourself a strong dose of spiritual energy in the morning, and you see how the day rolls out. That momentum will carry you through. And through regular practice, as you practice more and more and become more proficient in controlling the mind and directing and connecting with our higher self, we'll feel that inner power awakening within ourselves. So it's all about practice. We can discuss this again and again, but you have to put into practice and verify for yourself whether it works or not. So we'll meditate, and then we'll meet next Saturday, same time. Tomorrow we have Guru Purnima here. We have a program here starting at 10:30. So, and then be a little discourse on this subject of Guru and the power of the Guru, and why that is important in our spiritual life. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.